changing you forever. Where are all those testimonies? I'll tell you where they are. In the Christian column. That's where. Oh yeah, you look at it here and there in every genre. But Christian testimonies simply outclips the rest. Where are all the life-changing, electrifying Hindu testimonies? The Muslim testimonies? A Muslim, Buddhist, or a Jew on the street corner? Or from the proverbial rooftops, shouting the truth for all to hear, no matter the cost? Because they love us that much? Because he loves us that much? Where are they? And Freemason testimonies? Have you even heard of one of those? Satanic testimonies? You ever heard of one of those? A Freemason on his knees sobbing from joy because of the overwhelming knowledge that Lucifer loves him? No Mason or Satanist has ever done or heard of such a thing. But the biggest cult in size is the cult of society. Where do you think the word culture comes from? And the TV, the doctors, the idols, the PhDs, the scientists, they are the priests of the cult of society. You atheists think you don't live in a religious world of your own, filled with daily rituals and daily worship? Even your beliefs require faith in what your priests teach you. Evolution, no proof. Age of the earth, no proof. Distance of the sun, all faith-based on what you are told by strangers. You can see the rings of Saturn with your telescopes, but you can't see the buggy on the moon that was left behind in 1969. Yet you still believe, because you have faith. Don't you worry, no matter who you are, you live in a religious world, because life is religion. And if you're still in the religious category, think again.
I want to talk about the heartbreaking news that 215 children were found buried at the former Kamloops residential school. 215 children. Think of their loving families that they were ripped away from. Think of the communities that never saw them again. Think of their hopes, their dreams, their potential, of all they would have accomplished, all they would have become. All of that was taken away. These were children who deserved to be happy. Most of all, they deserved to be safe. As a dad, I can't imagine what it would feel like to have my kids taken away from me. And as Prime Minister, I am appalled by the shameful policy that stole Indigenous children from their communities. Our thoughts are with Te Kamloops, Te Secwepemc First Nation, and with all Indigenous communities across Canada. Sadly, this is not an exception or an isolated incident. We're not going to hide from that. We have to acknowledge the truth. Residential schools were a reality, a tragedy that existed here in our country, and we have to own up to it. Kids were taken from their families, returned damaged.
The cause to celebrate follows the disgusting things you're about to see.
The bondsmen who are found in the top echelons of the U.S. government. There, Skull and Bones is said to compete with other secret societies. It was Freemasons who laid the foundation stone for the Capitol. And another fraternity is said to have infiltrated the U.S. administration in order to secretly rule the world. Conspiracy theorists claim that the New World Order is even immortalized on the Great Seal of the United States. The seal bears the words Novus Ordo Seclorum, Latin for New Order of the Ages. Those words are also found on every $1 bill. So is this secret society so powerful that it can print the symbols of its dominion on the most important banknote on our planet? Since 1862, the design of the American currency has been in the hands.
The demonic realm, the world you can't see.
On this earth? And this earth and in the world we can't see.
On all sides, by forces of resistance. These sacred artifacts wish not to be born. It is only by the application of love, sacrifice, energy, pain, and strength that they come into this world at all. The artifact's beauty is proxy for the human virtue manifest in the efforts to divine them from the mundane, dirty, and toxic materials the street scum will come to manipulate using unfamiliar, loud, and dangerous tools. Before she is bestowed with the power to create sacred artifacts. Artifacts that will in turn one day call another street scum to the studio path. Our street scum must first endure road of trials.
Let's kill that. It's quite an amazing scene.
When Castro attended Trudeau's funeral in 2000, he and Justin Trudeau shared an emotional embrace.
Okay, so you can think about Christ from a psychological perspective, and my critic, this particular critic that I've been reading, said, well, that doesn't differentiate Christ much from a whole sequence of dying and resurrecting mythological gods. And of course, people have made that claim in comparative religion. Joseph Campbell did that, and Jung to a lesser degree, I would say, but Campbell did that. But the difference, and C.S. Lewis pointed this out as well, the difference between those mythological gods and Christ was that there's a representation of, there's a historical representation of his existence as well. Now you can debate whether or not that's genuine. You can debate about whether or not he actually lived and whether there's credible objective evidence for that, but it doesn't matter in some sense because this, well, it does, but there's a sense in which it doesn't matter because there's still a historical story. And so what you have in the figure of Christ is an actual person who actually lived, plus a myth, and in some sense Christ is the union of those two things. The problem is I probably believe that, but I don't know. I'm amazed at my own belief, and I don't understand it. Like, because I've seen sometimes the objective world and the narrative world touch. You know, that's Jungian synchronicity. And I've seen that many times in my own life. And so in some sense, I believe it's undeniable. You know, we have a narrative sense of the world. For me, that's been the world of morality. That's the world that tells us how to act. It's real. Like, we treat it like it's real. It's not the objective world. But the narrative and the objective world touch. And the ultimate example of that, in principle, is supposed to be Christ. But I don't know what to... that seems to me oddly plausible. Yeah. But I still don't know what to make of it. It's too... partly because it's too terrifying a reality to fully believe. I don't even know what would happen to you if you fully believed it.
If you believed in the story of Christ, or if you believed that history and let's say the narrative make meat, let's
both,
say.
I think you... Because when you believe that, you buy both those stories. You believe that the narrative and the objective can actually touch.
The Christian testimony simply outlives the rest.